What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. It's been a while since I posted. It's August 31st today. It's been a long summer, but just out here practicing in the yard, and it just got me to thinking, you know, we're getting down to the nitty-gritty. Most of the country, we're almost there to bow season. It's been a long awaited summer, but you know, I know South Carolina, they've already opened up August 15th, so they've been hunting. Being this my neighboring state, I've seen a lot of good bucks taken there. Tennessee just opened this past weekend. They have, I think, a weekend available, give people a head start. Kentucky comes in this weekend, September 4th, and Georgia, my home state, will be opening up the 11th. So we're almost there. Some of us are already there, and the ones that are not, we're just, you know, we're getting into final practice, you know, tuning in the last little bit on your bow. So I know everybody's out here, and we're just shooting, drilling targets in the yard, and you know, working on mechanics, things like that. And that's good, and that's needed. We have to do that, right? You've got to build that muscle memory so that you have it when the moment of truth happens, right, in the woods, because you're never going to remember stand right, breathe right, you know, make sure that you anchor, squeeze, none of that. You'll never remember that in the stand when you're trying to shoot a deer. So that's what we practice. We practice those mechanics to build real good muscle memory. But I like to practice when it gets right before season. I like to practice a little bit more realistically. I feel like that helps. You know, when you get out here, you kind of go through the motions. You're kind of like a golfer that's just out hitting hundreds of golf balls on the range. That's good. Again, you're working on mechanics. But is it really realistic to how you would play golf? And I think the answer is no, you know. There's a time when it's needed, and then there's a time when it's not. So, this video today, I want to share a tip that I use to try to make my practice a little bit more realistic, try to put a little bit of pressure on myself, per se. Almost trying to put myself in a target panic. And I'll explain more on that. You know, when you're about to shoot at a deer, you're shooting a buck of a lifetime, there's going to be pressure, and I want to try to mimic that as close as I can. So, one thing that I do, and you may laugh at first, but you got to let me explain, is something that I do. I've never heard of anybody else doing it, but I stop the deer. Okay, so what that means is I will go through a scenario in my head. And I like to use 3D targets. You don't have to, but if you have a 3D target, I feel like this is the best. Again, we're trying to get as realistic as possible. But what I will do is set up about 35, 40 yards, a range that, you know, challenges me a little bit. And I will go through the entire motion just as if I had seen a deer in the stand in real life, right? So I may slowly get my bow. I'll pretend as if I've seen a buck coming in, right? And, you know, I'm checking the little things as the deer's coming in. I'll actually pull my rangefinder. Now, I may not actually range since I already know the range, but I will just go through the motions of mimicking. Okay, I'm trying to range a tree where I think that deer is going to step out in the shooting lane that I want to try to shoot him in, okay? So when I say stop the deer, how many times are you hunting and we have to actually stop the deer? Whether you give him a, you know, a whistle or the common meh or a ShamWow. Whatever you do to get him to stop, I want you to try to do that. But this whole time I want you pretending and trying to really put yourself in the mindset that a deer is coming, okay? So that means sometimes I will pull back and I'll hold back for an extended period of time, try to fatigue my muscles, but that happens all the time. Every time you stop a deer, they want to stop behind a tree where you're now in full draw and you're waiting for them to take that one more step. It seems like they just stand there, right, looking around forever. So what that does when you stop the target, okay, that happens in real life. You've created pressure on yourself, okay? You've stopped the deer has stopped, it's looking. Now it's in an alerted state, okay? The deer is very alert, and you've got to make a decision. You've got to get on, and you've got to you have a window of time here because that deer's not going to stand there forever, right? It's going to stop, say, hey, what was that? And then it's going to go on its way. So you've got to execute a shot in a timely fashion, but we don't want you to rush the shot. But I think that this type of practice will get you better at getting a shot off sooner. If you're one that just sits there and holds and holds and holds forever, you may need to get that a little bit quicker, in 3 to 4 seconds tops, okay? So let's try that here. Show you kind of what I mean. All right, so we got the deer down there, got the little buck. Okay, so sitting in a stand, I've just noticed the deer's coming in, and I will slowly, take the bow off my bow hanger. If you're not already hooked, we're hooking into the D-loop. We're positioning ourselves. I'm trying to not, step a whole lot, just as if I was in a lock-on, right? Or a climbing stand. So, sitting here, I'm watching this deer, trying to maybe make a decision. Okay, I'm going to take a range at this deer. Is it a shoot or buck? Okay, yeah, that's a deer I want to shoot. I've made that decision, okay? Now I'm ranging some trees where I think I might have an opportunity. This deer's coming the whole time. I'm watching him. Okay, this deer's on the way. Alright. You want to try to be slow. I'm truly pretending a deer's on the way. Okay. Now this deer's stepping behind a bush. I'm going to take my opportunity to go ahead and draw. And I'm going to hold it. That deer's just standing behind the bush, okay? Just like they always seem to do. They want to stand there forever. So now I'm putting myself in a little bit of fatigue, just like it might happen really in the woods, okay? I'm looking. Okay, the deer's just started to walk. It's coming into the fire, coming into my shooting lane. Matt. Alright, so see, I'd like to get the shot off a little bit quicker. But that just put me into okay, I've got to make a decision here. I got to either get rid of this arrow, or either I'm going to have to let down, okay? This will get you in that mindset of, there's pressure on you now. You're not just lobbing it back, taking all the time in the world that you need. You've got to execute a shot, because you might not get another shot on this deer. Or make an ethical decision. If you're sitting there and you're wobbling because you were holding so long and you're not so fatigued, is it worth it? You can't settle the pin. Let down. It's better to let the deer survive and have another chance at it than mortally wound the thing, right? So that's just my tip. Try it. You may get laughed at by your buddies. Just explain what you're doing. But don't make it mechanical. Truly imagine that the buck of a lifetime is walking down and about to be in your shooting lane, okay? If you just go and make a noise, and you're not really playing it out in your mind, well, this is just going to become another mechanic, okay? You're not going to really help yourself. So just try it. Let me know what y'all think. If it actually puts some more pressure on you, it puts pressure on me. Yeah, let me know what you think. Leave comments, and let me know if it helped y'all. Thanks.